Good evening and welcome to Bermuda's News and Views. And tonight we have my good friend, the probably the one of the few people that I knew first in Bermuda, the Minister of Youth, Culture, and Sport, Dr. Ernest Peets. And we want to start off with a bit of good news on the front of the show tonight. With first week of summer camps are free. It's a great price. Dr. Peets, why is the department making this free for parents?
Yeah, actually, thank you, Don, once again. It's always good to be back on Burn News, my favorite source for news information. And yes, you're right. We're working with our fellow Minister of Education and his team and our team have collaborated. I've been informed that public school is going to be ending a few days early. And as such, we understand that summer camp conversely will need to start early as well. So we're pleased to be able to work with the Minister of Education and our team in ensuring that camp opening up early this year is not going to inconvenience parents as relates to their schedules, but also relates to cost. So that first week of camp is going to be at no cost to parents.
Yeah, that's great news. And I'm sure a lot of parents who found out when school is going to be closing a little bit early might have had some concerns about, what am I going to do with my children for a week? But now that's been solved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're really excited about that. Summer camp is extremely popular. It's fully subscribed every single summer. I know the team at Youth Sport and Recreation have been working on the curriculum and getting everything ready. So I'm really excited for the kids. They're going to have a really great time in camp this year.
Okay. Now, well, let's get back to what we're here to really talk about is Bermuda Day and all the wonderful festivities that go along with that. For you growing up, what did Bermuda Day mean to you?
Well, as most people my age, of course, it was always May 24th. So it certainly took a little while for the change in the date and the time to sort of take root. But we're really excited this year as I think about some of the things I really enjoyed as a youngster for the Bermuda Day, of course. It is getting up in the morning and visiting friends and family at our usual spot to watch the race in the morning. And that was always really, really exciting. And to watch the runners come through. And then, of course, later that day to enjoy the festivities around the parade. So depending on what was happening that particular year, it was always a toss-up, either watching the parade or potentially having your first dip in the ocean. Most of you guys who are listening understand for Bermudians, the first day of summer is actually Bermuda Day. So depending on what year it was definitely either watching the parade or potentially hitting up one of the beaches.
Right. Now, was there a particular spot that your family enjoyed watching the runners go past? Was it close to your house? Or did you guys pick somewhere closer to town?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, we grew up in Smiths and Devonshire, so one of the favorite spots for most people in that part of the island is to swing down Berry Hill and catch the runners coming through East Broadway. It draws a huge crowd every year that the race has been run from the west, and it's one of the favorite spots for myself and for my family.
Okay. Did you have somebody that you particularly enjoyed watching, or was memorable as you were a youngster?
Well, I'm actually really proud of all the athletes. I've never personally run the race. I've thought about it a few times and never really made that full commitment to train and participate. Perhaps I might do that sometime in the future. Perhaps not. Not really sure. But as I think about some of the races that I've watched, particularly as a kid, um, one of the runners that send out, of course, would be Ray Swann. I remember watching him as a kid and watching him do what he did. Other runners, such as, of course, more recently, well, actually not real more recently, because Mike Watson hasn't been running in quite some time. And then, of course, was Kevin Smith and others. So, those kind of the names that sort of stand out to me, particularly as I was watching the running races, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s.
Right. And some of those are classic Bermuda Day race winners over the years. Uh, uh, for some of the younger people who may not know, I believe Ray still has the marathon record. Maybe it had been eclipsed in the last few years, but at one point in time, he had the actual marathon record, though not the Bermuda Day half marathon record, but the actual marathon record.
Yeah,
Um,
I was also really excited when Lamont Marshall won.
yeah,
That was really, really, really special. And there are other runners, that have really stood out. And of course, I'm a little bit embarrassed that I can't recall the names, right at this moment. But we've seen so many stellar performances, both from the male and female side of the running race, and it's something that's a bit of a spectacle for us. So we're praying for good weather on Bermuda Day. I have talked to the race organizers. There's going to be a full complement of runners in the race, as well as the introduction, of course, a few years ago with the relay races. So we're anticipating well over 600 runners, either individually or through the relays.
yeah. It was kind of funny because, like, when you talked about the weather for the race, and then you started off, and I talked to, and I thought you were going to say God, praying for good weather.
So I mean, I've been watching the weather for the last 10 days, and because of course, this has been a mammoth undertaking for the department, and as well as for our community and stakeholders who are going to be organizing the race and organizing the parade. So we really want this to be a wonderful opportunity for Bermuda to really just come together, enjoy family, enjoy our culture, enjoy a holiday weekend, and to do so safely and just really have a wonderful time.
No, no, Cindy Swann is asking, uh, are you going to be running in the race? And maybe we should make it a challenge. You'll run the race if Kim runs the race.
I would be willing to entertain putting my body at risk, particularly if it was a fundraiser. So if we could find a way to earn some money for charity, I certainly would put the effort in and put my body at risk and perhaps get out there and do something good for the community.
Right. We'll have to talk about that because if you run the race for charity next year, I will put $500 behind that if you get out there and run the race. I'm on record now.
Okay, well, if we can get maybe a few hundred other individuals on board for that, I'm pretty sure I could be coaxed into doing that.
Okay. For you, I know like there's a lot of events and things that are happening on the day, but the family aspect of it, what does that mean to you? And now as an adult and you have your own family, what does that mean?
Well, of course, this country and as well as other countries around the world, have been really dealing with issues around the pandemic, and there was a time earlier this year, particularly after Christmas, during the early part of January, we weren't even really sure that this was even going to occur. So, the fact that we've gotten to a point as a country where events like this can actually occur, I think really means a lot emotionally, for the country and for individual families who have worked really, really hard and perhaps haven't had an opportunity to travel and take a vacation. This is an opportunity for families like that to really, have a day off, enjoy the weather, enjoy the culture, enjoy each other, be outdoors, and really feel like, we've really sort of, a bouncing back. The pandemic, of course, has taken something from us as it relates to this particular parade for the last 2 years. And this parade this year, I think, takes on a whole new meaning as it relates to our ability to recover from the pandemic. So I'm personally looking forward to spending some time with my wife and my kids. They're all back from boarding school and college, and we're figuring out our outfits for the day, and we're making plans not only for the day, which is Friday, but we're making plans for Thursday night, Friday night, as well as on the weekend. But they'll be with me, of course, on the flagpole this weekend to watch the parade. So I'm really going to be excited for that.
Now the audience really wants some participation from you this year. Besides running the race, Tyrone McCarty's asking, will Minister Peets join any floats in the parade, or perhaps dance with the gambes?
I have been known to be moved, like many others, when the gumbays are doing their thing. This year, of course, I'm looking forward to not just watching the parade, but get an opportunity to be a part of those panel of individuals who are taking a look at the floats and perhaps offering some comment and prizes for the best floats. That's something that I've never had the opportunity to do before, that this particular position and job allows me. And so I'm really taking that on as a special occasion. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the day brings on Friday. And wherever the Department of Culture needs me to participate, I certainly will be there.
Right. Now, you were talking about the pandemic and how it's affected the race and the whole day over the last 2 years. Is that part of the reason why togetherness was chosen for this year's theme?
Yeah, absolutely. There were a couple of suggestions that sort of came up as ideas for theme for this particular Heritage Month and for the parade. And as I was going through the options, what really stood out to me was this idea about togetherness, and it stood out so much, Don, that if you ask me to recall some of the other options to consider for a theme, I can't even remember what they were, simply because this particular theme seemed to be so fitting for us as a country. Togetherness, I think, is something that is a part of who we are as a country and as a community. We know what it's like to come together in times of tragedy. We know what it's like to come together as a country in times of travesty and difficulty. We do it every summer for hurricanes, for example. We do it when loved ones have been lost, or when our neighbors are going through a difficult period. And as I think about what this country has been through over the last 2 years regarding the pandemic and all the things that we're sort of seeing in our country as relates to antisocial behavior, all the stress that we're under, this is really the theme that I think that makes sense. Coming together, celebrating together, with the whole idea that we get through all of what we get through. We get through those things if we stay together.
Right.
So I'm really, really happy to support this particular theme for this year.
I know earlier your department had put out a press release, and part of it said togetherness is a community of a group of people who live together and rely upon each other. This
Yes.
Heritage Month theme gives our community the opportunity to think about what binds us together. How do we pull together during times of tragedy and need? How do we celebrate together? And we certainly saw that when Flora
I know.
pulled us all together during the Olympics.
I know.
And what value do we place on, and what can we accomplish together as a country? Just really uplifting message.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, I've had so many interesting moments as minister during these past 18 to 20 months. And of course, you mentioned Flora. That was really, really huge for us as a country. I still get goosebumps when I think about how her accomplishment really not only put Bermuda on the map, but really allowed us, when she came back, to really showcase our love and our appreciation, and how this country came together to celebrate one of our national heroes in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I remember those celebrations at Victoria Park, and everyone, all the special songs that people wrote, and the performances, and the poetry. Just a moving day for all of Bermuda. Basking in the glow afterwards. Still,
Yeah, we certainly needed something to celebrate, and she delivered a gold medal, which is beyond our wildest dreams. And we're still basking in that glow, and still benefiting from the hard work that she put in on that day.
um, we're going to take a little bit of break here, but as we know, the race is always a highlight of the day. We've talked about it a little bit. Our friends and colleagues over at Bermuda Broadcasting Company will be bringing you live coverage. So let's have a look at their promo.
The Bermuda Day Half Marathon Derby is just upon us. Join ZFB TV7 and Power 95 for the 112th edition Friday, May 27th. We will provide all the excitement starting at 8 a.m. with a pre-marathon broadcast live from Somerset with Nick Jones. He will bring you live interviews with current and former competitors, and you can be assured he will keep you abreast until the start of the race. That's Friday, May 27th on ZFB TV7 and Power 95. Brought to you by HSBC, the Argus Group, BAC Universal Electric, Lindo's Group of Companies, BEDC, Digicel, The Phoenix Stores, D'Angelini's Cafe, and Freddy's Buffet.
I always love the Bermuda Day race. One of the things I had the pleasure of one year working with Mike Sharp, who unfortunately won't be with her.
Yeah, we're gonna miss Mike this year. I mean, he's going to be missed for many, many years to come. We certainly lost a wonderful advocate for sports and for broadcasting when we lost Mike.
Yeah, I mean, because he's like one of the unifying of parts of Bermuda Day. Everyone listening to his iconic voice broadcasting the race. So, but it'll still be there for people to enjoy. And I know I'll be thinking about Mike throughout the day. But moving from the race to the parade, it's a really huge undertaking by your department. And I don't know if it's maybe the biggest thing that the department as a whole does, but who are some of the unsung heroes that make this day happen?
Yeah, so Bermuda Day is actually the Department of Culture's Christmas. So that's how much emphasis is put on Bermuda Day, and typically they will be planning for this months and months in advance. And they're not the only ones, of course, who make all of this occur. Of course, it's all of our stakeholders, all of those groups out there who dance, who put on all of the entertainment for the parade. Many of you, of course, are going to be in the parade this year, and thank you so much. We really certainly appreciate the hard effort that you guys have put in on short notice. Some of you, of course, couldn't make it this year simply because the time frame to make that happen just didn't accommodate your schedule. So we're certainly grateful for the Department of Culture, for all of the stakeholders who get all the groups together to make this happen. Of course, we have to thank the Corporation of Hamilton, who make the streets, of course, available to us. Please, moms and dads, we're discouraging you from putting down your tape.
Yes,
for
too late.
today.
Too late.
So, but we understand that that's usually a part of our experience as well. But that's something, of course, that we have to publicly discourage. We don't have permission to give permission to others to go ahead and put down duct tape to mark their spot. So come together for Bermuda Day, of course, and share the streets as much as possible.
I know this is going back probably about 7 or 8 years ago. There was one office that actually has an office pool to when that first tape's going to go down.
I'm pretty sure there's a few individuals who've already gotten out there. I mean, and sometimes I've heard that individuals will have family members camping out and staking out the day before on rotational shifts to ensure that they get their favorite spot for the race and for the parade. So that just shows you how much passion and how much enjoyment we get out of this. And I would imagine this year, given the fact that we've missed it for 2 years, there's going to be an extra feeling of enjoyment and satisfaction when we see those runners run from Somerset into Hamilton, and then, of course, all the way to Bernards Park. And I can imagine if you're on Cedar Avenue this year, I mean, that place is probably going to be just wall-to-wall individuals just pouring out their love for all of the runners.
And of course, the cyclists end on Cedar Avenue over by the Catholic Church there, St. Teresa's.
Yes, I believe that's St. Teresa's. So I've made to understand the running race is actually going to start at 8:30.
Mhm.
So we want all of your listeners and viewers on Burn News to tune in for 8:30 in the morning. If you're going to be watching it outdoors, take your radio with you and tune in. And if you want to watch the Burn News live feed, go ahead and do that. But you might want to make sure you're there out there before 8:30.
Okay. Now, we're talking about this big undertaking by the department. So you'll finish up this year's race and it'll be done. And long after the crowds are gone, guys have to come in and move barriers and do the cleanup and return the street to looking normal for the next day. So how long afterwards are people doing this work to return the city to normal?
Well, for the Department of Culture, of course, this work starts well in advance, and the month of May is the busiest month for the Department of Culture because it's Heritage Month. So there was a whole slew and whole slate of events, including the cultural conference that they had last week out there at Spanish Point Boat Club. So thank you to Spanish Point Boat Club for allowing us to come and host our event there. So there's a team of individuals, I would imagine, with the Corporation of Hamilton and others who are going to do their very level best to ensure that the city is returned to normal and open for business the next day. So it's a mammoth task, but we've done this before. I'm not going to say that it's a well-oiled machine, but I'm pretty sure it's very, very close to being a well-oiled machine.
When does the planning start for next year's parade? And do you have like a wrap up afterwards to decide, what went well, what could use some improvement?
Yeah, sure. So right after Heritage Month, we will move into the month of June. They will probably have a debrief. And then, of course, we're buckling down with youth and sport and others regarding Cup Match. And once we get past Cup Match, all of our eyes, of course, now are going to be turned to Heritage Month for next year. So we'll be busy working and planning on next year as early as September of this year.
Now, I know the parade route can change from year to year. I mean, we had a couple years that actually went up to the National Stadium, but what's this year's route?
So, of course, we didn't have, full permission to go ahead and do this until the first week of April, given the fact that our COVID restrictions didn't come to an end until the end of March. So we had a lot of moving pieces. So it was just simpler to keep the existing parade route from 2019 to allow us then to focus on other things to make sure that we can put on the event and do a very, very good job. So it's going to come down Front Street. Oh, by the way, listeners, you can go on the Burn News website and you can find the parade route as well. So you come down Front Street, it's going to go up Court Street, then it's going to come down Church Street, and then turn on Cedar Avenue.
Right. Are there any set performance points of people maybe who haven't been to the parade, some maybe new people to the island, where you would recommend like a really good vantage points to watch it, and or where they can make sure that they can see everyone perform? Are there any set spots that the entries have to perform?
Well, based on the parade routes and experience that we've had, there's a good vantage point almost everywhere along the parade route. The key thing, of course, is just getting there early and picking a spot. But
That should be like a warning, because the roads closed that day at what time for town?
I would so the running race will probably hit town somewhere around, I don't know, 9 o'clock thereabouts. Because usually, one of the fastest runners are about an hour and 6 minutes, an hour and 7 minutes
Right.
thereabouts. So you want to get town early to make sure that you're not missing some of the roads being cordoned off to pick your spot. But of course, what some of the famous spots, of course, are along Front Street. But I would imagine right by Cabinet, where the turning up on Court Street or anywhere on Court Street will be a good spot. And Church Street, of course, is just lit up. It's always a very, very fun spot to watch the race. I mean, so watch not only the race but also the run. I'm sorry, watch the race as well as the parade.
Okay. Right. Now, how many entries are in this year's parade?
So we're still counting entrants, and even today I was working with the Department of Culture regarding some last-minute potential additions. So I don't have a final number at the moment. But it should be somewhere north of 40 participants or acts within the parade this year, which is a really good number because just a few weeks ago, maybe as many as 10 days ago, we were probably tracking at about 20 participants. So it really didn't look like we were going to get that many people to come out this year. But in the last 10 days, the team has worked extremely hard. The community has come together, and it looks like we're almost going to be back at full capacity in a non-COVID year. I believe in 2019, they may have had close to 50 participants in the parade regarding floats and marching troops and gumbays and whatnot. So to get near 40 and just coming out of COVID, I think that's a huge success.
Right. So is there any sort of new groups that are entered this year that you know about?
Now, I wouldn't know if they're new, and there might be a few new here and there. I wasn't, of course, around in 2019 to have a full itinerary of everyone, but of course, as a Bermudian, I'm looking for a few things as sort of staple in the parade, which of course your floats, your majorettes, your dance troops, your music trucks, and of course your gumbays. And I'm pleased to report that all of those staple items are going to be in the parade this year.
Right. Everybody loves the majorettes and they love the gombays, and
Absolutely, absolutely.
It just has that Bermuda warmth and feeling to it, just to see them all together. For you, do you have any favorite parts of the parade?
So, of course, the favorite part of the parade for me, I enjoy all of it. But of course, the tail end of the parade, when the music trucks and the gumbays come, that's just sort of this climactic sort of experience is just really, really, really special. And so I'm really looking forward to this year. It's going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully I can get my dance on.
Well, I know a lot of people are going to have their cameras out if you do, and seeing your moves as you have them.
Yep. So please, post your pictures of the minister having fun on Bermuda Day. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Right. My family has a slight history with the parade. My dad used to have a clown troupe.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, in the 80s and 90s that he did for quite a bit. He always tried to get me to go into it, but I never did. That's one of the things I kind of regret, missing that moment with him to do that.
Mm.
All right. So before we go, we want to leave our viewers with a quick 1-minute look at the old Bermuda Day Parade. Classic.
Wow.
Mhm.
That gave me goosebumps. I'm really looking forward to Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No, Minister, we want to give you a chance to say the last word here. Anything you want to let our viewers know before we sign off tonight?
Well, sure. Thank you, everyone. Please come out and support our runners. Come out and support all of those who have put in so much hard work for the parade. And of course, be safe over the holiday. And we're just wishing everyone a happy and blessed Bermuda Day on Friday. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Minister. Always glad to have you here.
Absolutely. Look forward to coming back sometime soon.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time we can talk about what place Arsenal finished in and what team won the league.
Obviously, it wasn't Arsenal this year. May not be Arsenal for many years to come.
Yeah. I'm happy with the way things turned out. I'll just say that.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Man City.
Yes. On behalf of Burr News, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Peets because he's already said it, but we're wishing everyone not only a Bermuda-ful evening tonight, but a Bermuda-ful Bermuda day and a Bermuda-ful Bermuda weekend.